But let's come back and focus on the media space, particularly let's get a health check on the cable TV space and the on-ground realities. And there have been interesting developments as well, including shift to gross billing early next year, TRAI mandating cable TV companies to give users pre and post-payment options, and of course recommending MSOs cap individual MSO dominance at about 50% market share. So there's lots happening. Let's get a status check. We have with us Mr. Vidhi Wadhwa, the CEO at City Cable, joining us from Delhi. Mr. Wadhwa, great having you with us, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. There's been lots that has been happening, and I want to start off one by one each. Let's start off first by talking about the shift to gross billing. How does the industry view this issue, and by when do we see the shift to gross billing, at least for phase 1 markets?
I think from the overall industry point of view, all the national players, which are about 4 or 5 national players, we are all welcoming this particular decision, because City Cable took the initiative. We started doing gross billing in July, August also, but since others were not ready, we have to go back to the net billing basis. Now, November billing will be happening on the gross basis. All the national MSOs are in alignment and agreement with this. However, the challenge is that there are small independent MSOs or the small operators in the different markets. I don't think are from the back-end point of view, they are ready to do the gross billing. But I think once it has been mandated, they have to find ways and means, and whatever they have been delaying for all this period, I think they will also gear up for doing the gross billing. So it's a welcome sign, because this is a one step in that direction. Once we start doing the gross billing, then obviously the entire declaration monetization will happen, and the next challenge after the gross billing will be to go and collect also as per the gross billing.
Right.
Because we have witnessed that people do the gross billing, so which your tax liabilities to us, entertainment tax, service tax goes up, but when it comes to the actual collection from the operators, there is still a big gap between the collection and the gross billing level. So I think eventually that once everything is happening on a gross basis, you are generating the customer invoices, this money will start coming in. So my feeling is that November the billing will start, and it will take 2 to 3 months time to stabilize the gross billing.
Do we see this improving collections, and do we see the per subscriber realization also improving?
Subscriber realization has already gone up post digitization. The money is being collected by the local cable operators, but it is not flowing back to the MSOs. So I would not say that because the gross billing, the subscriber collection will go up. I think subscriber collection has already gone up, and it's happening also. So this is not going to change much at the subscriber level, but the issue is that the large part of the collections was being retained by the middleman. Now that will start flowing into the MSOs also. So that is what will be the discipline which will come in. So A, the MSOs will start collecting more. B, the tax authorities will start getting better collections because of the gross billing.
But do you see LCOs opposing this, or do you think that matter is at least resolved in to certain extent?
No, it will be. No, it will not be accepted so easily by the LCO community. But the issue here will be that if everybody is following the regulation, and it has become mandatory for everyone to follow. So my sense is that for next 3-4 months the resistance level will be high, but eventually everyone has to fall in line on this. You can delay it, defer it, or have some issues only for up to a point. Beyond a point, I think everyone has to align to the new reality of the life. So yes, LCO will be opposing this. They will not be comfortable with the gross billing package initially, but I think it will take 3-4 months time to settle down.
Okay, let's talk about some recommendations and mandates which TRAI has provided. First, on giving users pre and post payment options. Will that create any, I should say, divergence as far as realizations are concerned? Because traditionally, if you look at the example of telecom, we can't really strictly do an apple-to-apple comparison, but from a telecom space, realizations tend to be pretty low when it comes to the prepaid subscribers. For postpaid, it's slightly higher. The industry wants postpaid, that's the preferred mode, but obviously, if the element of prepaid also comes in, would that create any, I should say, a bit of a temporary drop as far as realizations are concerned, ARPUs are concerned?
No, I don't think, because there is going to be a difference in the ARPU because of the pre or the post-paid connections. Because if you notice the DTH industry where there are no distributors and the LCOs, the DTH industry is largely on the prepaid basis only. Now, in our industry, because there is a middleman, and obviously after providing the services, you are collecting money in 30 days period. So once you go for the prepaid option also, the many customers would like to opt for the prepaid option. Many customers would like to settle it by paying online. And however, because you are not a B2C company, you are dealing through the B2B. Basically, there is a partner in between. So by and large, I think that in the foreseeable future, a large chunk of the business will be happening through postpaid only. I don't see that the prepaid model will be effective in the next at least 24 months.
But by when do
the
we
industry is going through a transition phase because they are not habitual of even the gross billing and the entire collection.
Right. Actually, I was going to ask you about how would the tariff plans work? Have you finalized the kind of tariff plans that you will bring out as part of the the prepaid options, or by when do we see that happening?
No, there is not going to be a difference between the prepaid and the postpaid thing. Prepaid option is obviously the way it works is that the customer will have the choice to pay the money directly through the credit card, settle it through the payment gateway available on our website. It is not likely to work the way the DTH industry work, where that you get the recharge cards or so.
Okay.
So I would say that yes, while we are ready from the back-end point of view, system point of view, to move to the prepaid model as well, but I don't think any other player in the industry so far is ready with the prepaid model. So it will be slightly premature right now. I think prepaid model will be much more effective once the package billing has been stabilized. So right now we haven't given much of thought between the different packages between the prepaid and the postpaid model so far.
Okay.
I think the biggest priority for the industry is to let the gross billing get stabilized. And the prepaid, because our system, our OIC system, because as per our OIC system, we have given the entire tools and the command to the LCOs. So whichever the customer, basically the way our system works is that LCO can pay the money and there will be a credit balance. So long as there is a credit balance, he can continue to keep the signals on with any customer. So it is effectively, it will become, the moment the LCO is using our OIC system, it is by and large prepaid model only for us. So
right.
The issue is that others are yet to move to the prepaid model and keep prepare their back-end model for this.
Right. Mr. Madhava, how do you assess TRAI recommendations to cap individual MSO dominance at 50% market share? We've seen M&A guidelines being finalized for the telecom industry, and some of these guidelines look similar to that. Do you think this is going to help? Saying that no single MSO can have greater than 50% market share in a relevant market. Obviously, LCOs will be very happy because of this. But do you think for the industry to grow, we don't need these kind of norms?
I don't think so. On the contrary, I would say that we rather welcome such kind of guideline issued by the TRAI, because 50% is not a small number, and if you go by in any of the markets, the market leader is controlling the market by not more than 35 to 40% share. And in a respective market, the TRAI guideline is not suggesting that you cannot grow organically. You can grow organically. The only thing is they have put the restrictions on the acquisition to grow. So okay. If you look at the current issue also, other than I think 2 or 3 markets in the country, there are not too many players. Let's say Punjab and Odisha are probably 2 exceptions where the MSOs are having more than 50% share. But other than that, there is not any exception in any other market.
But does it leave any scope for M&A in other markets? Because I remember some time back, it was about last year, there was a lot of buzz about the large 2-3 MSOs coming together, forming one single entity and working together in certain markets. Do you think that is now out of the window completely, and perhaps big M&As perhaps would not happen as far as the sector is concerned?
Yeah, that part I agree, but having said that, I would say that there are 4 national MSOs currently, and even otherwise, 4 national MSOs, I don't see that there is going to be a M&A possibility among those 4 MSOs. They are quite independent, belonging to the respective industrial houses, business houses, and I do not see any synergy between any of those 4 MSOs where there is a possibility of M&A. So I think M&A will continue to happen, but that will happen not among the 4 MSOs, it will happen beyond the top 4 MSOs. So when the small players are coming together, that kind of consolidation will happen, which I think, if last time also I mentioned that to you, that consolidation is bound to happen in this industry, but may not be happening at the top 4 MSOs level, because we are strong in Calcutta market. We are market leader in Calcutta market, but our current market share is about 47-48%. So you can, and this, you can keep on growing. Calcutta market business will be growing and our percentage share also will keep on growing on that issue. So we see no reason, unless we have the ambition to, become a 80%, 90% dominant player. That is not the intent. Because as a strategy also, we don't believe that we should have such a dominant presence, because the moment you have a dominant presence, obviously you are inviting others to come and compete with your market.
Okay. All right, Mr. Madhava, thank you so much for joining us, giving us a complete and a holistic perspective. Right. We are out of time, Mr. Madhava. Thank you so much for joining us, for giving us a complete or holistic perspective on how the industry is working. And we hope that these norms and recommendations actually get streamlined and perhaps provide a bit of an upside to the industry, particularly gross billing, which is a very contentious issue at this point of time. Management of City Cable talking about the on-ground realities as far as the cable TV industry is concerned.